One part that gets a lot of attention on a dirt bike is the hub on a wheel. If you have a good looking hub, that is hard to top. So most stock hubs come in a cast aluminum form, which has a rough, kind of textured finish on it, and it does not look very good. So I'm gonna bring you through the process of giving these hubs back here a machined or like brushed aluminum look to it, using just a couple of supplies. All right, I've got a set of stock hubs off a CR250 here, and they are pretty rough from the factory. Got a casting line here, and just all the dimples from the casting process. And here are the supplies I'll be using to bring these hubs back to life. Got a file, a coarse scotch-brite wheel, a finer grit scotch-brite wheel, and a few cartridge rolls that'll be mounted on a drill. The first order of business is going to be filing down these bigger chunks. We've got a casting stamp and a few casting lines. One thing you got to be conscious of when you're using a flat file, especially on a rounded part like this hub, as you're moving towards the rounded part, it's really easy to dig a groove into the side of the hub. I ended up doing it on this side, but I caught myself before it got too bad and I was able to smooth it out. All right, that is looking pretty good for this side. Got one more casting line over here, and then this hub will be ready for the bench grinder. And of course, there's easier ways to go about this. If you have an angle grinder and a good air compressor, that would work a lot quicker than using a file. While I'm at it, a few of these spoke holes have some rough edges around them. I'm gonna go ahead and file that away as well. I've got one last casting mark on the rear hub to remove. I'm gonna try something different on this one. I've got these little Dremel tools that I'm gonna throw in the drill. I really wish I had an air compressor that was capable of running air tools. That would make the job a lot easier. But the drill is gonna have to do for now. All right, I've got the casting lines and stamps ground off the hubs, and now they're ready for the next stage, which is gonna be bringing them over to the buffing machine. It's got the coarse scotch-brite wheel on it right now, and this wheel is gonna remove the filing and grinding marks I made earlier, as well as smoothing out that casting texture that's on the hub. So the scotch-brite wheel seems to be working fantastic so far. Doing a really good job at smoothing out these casting marks, and then took care of those filing and grinding marks as well. I definitely learned my lesson on the shock body and fork lugs though. You really don't want to hold the part on the wheel in the same spot for an extended period of time. Always want to keep the part moving on the wheel as you're buffing it. If you hold it in one spot, obviously it's going to make somewhat of a flat mark, and that'll be pretty visible on something rounded such as this hub. So that is everything I can do on the front hub with the coarse scotch-brite wheel. Now I'm going to knock out the rear hub real quick. I tell you what guys, these hubs are looking freaking sweet so far. The scotch-brite wheel is definitely working its magic. I've been super impressed with how smooth and consistent the finish is already, and this is only the first stage. And I've actually been using the same exact scotch-brite wheel on both the hubs and the shock body and fork lugs from a few videos back, and this thing has hardly worn down at all. These last forever. To pick one up for yourself, click the first link down in the description. Alright, so the center of the hubs are looking really good. Now the ends are going to need some work. Got some corrosion and of course the casting texture. All that will be taken care of with the sandpaper rolls. And I've got the mandrel to attach these rolls to a drill or an air tool. To make the sandpaper rolls last a bit longer and cut quicker, I've got this stick of wax. So you just apply it to the sandpaper roll and it seems to be helping out quite a bit. So I'll be starting out with the coarse grade sandpaper and then moving on to the finer grit to give it that smooth finish. And these little tapered rolls, they are super handy to have for getting in those tight areas. Well guys, let's get to work. This is gonna take some time. On these tapered rolls, once the first half of it wears out, you can flip it around to get a little bit more use out of it. But you might have to put a screwdriver through, kind of poke it at the end, and then put it onto the drill. So these sandpaper rolls are rolled a certain way, and they're not going to last quite as long with them being flipped around on the mandrel like this. So I'm done with the first stage using the coarse grit sandpaper. It's looking pretty scuffed up, but now I'm going to move on to the fine grit sandpaper and give this thing a nice finish. So the front hub is finished up, but it is definitely a little more rough than I would have hoped. Getting in all these tight areas is pretty tough to do. But overall, the finish is pretty consistent and there's no deep gouges in it, so I can live with it. With that being said, there's a few different things I want to try with this rear hub to see if I can get the finish a little bit better. One thing I noticed is the wax I was using would dry out pretty quickly and start to build up on the sandpaper roll. So I'm going to give a liquid lubricant a shot. This is MPPL by Maxima, pretty much a WD-40. After about 10 minutes of grinding, the rear hub is starting to look pretty good. Definitely happier with how this is turning out compared to the front hub. So the MPPL is working a lot better than the wax was. I just really wish there was a way to get the finish on the outside of the hub similar to the inside. I just love that finish right there. So the hubs are all done, and that was definitely a learning experience. I think if I were to do it again, I would do just the center of the hubs with the scotch-brite wheel, and then for the ends, just shine them up with a wire wheel instead of grinding all those casting marks off. I'm really glad I gave the sandpaper rolls a shot though. Next time around will be so much easier. But really, the end result wasn't too bad. Just wasn't quite the finish I was going for. All right, what to do with the hubs? So I could leave them how they are, or I could go ahead and powder coat them. I'm gonna leave that one up to you guys. So put it down in the comments below whether I should leave them or powder coat them. And whatever you guys decide, that's what I'm gonna do. In my opinion, I think they look pretty cool how they are, but powder coating on top of that smooth finish is gonna look pretty sweet too. Before I forget, I need to go pick the winner for these stickers from the last video. Got the YouTube comment picker pulled up. Loading up all the comments here. You guys crushed it on this one. Left a crap ton of comments. There's probably 2,000, I want to say. 1,700. That is unbelievable. All right, just gonna pick a complete random comment here. All right, we've got Brett Lancaster 385, and he says PA. So I'm guessing Pennsylvania. So Brett Lancaster, shoot me a message here on YouTube and I'll get these stickers over to you. Well, it was good to see you guys again. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and don't forget to leave your comment down below whether I should leave these hubs or powder coat them. And if you want to make your hubs look like this, cruise on over to primemx.com and pick yourself up a scotch-brite wheel. All right, take care everyone. I'll see you later.